What if, by law, your home had to be completely invisible from the outside? During the Second World War, that wasn't a hypothetical, it was reality. From 1939, government blackouts across Britain meant any light visible outdoors was forbidden. In America, after Pearl Harbor, coastal cities enforced similar dim outs. This wasn't just about turning off street lamps. It meant no welcoming lights in the window, and electric Christmas light strings, with their materials needed for the war effort, had ceased production. Christmas, a festival of light, was forced into the shadows. But the darkness didn't win. Today, we're not just looking at history. We're uncovering the forgotten ingenuity of the home front. We're breaking down 7 non-electric hacks that families used to make their homes glow during a wartime Christmas. These weren't about generating power. They were about generating hope. This is the story of how, in the darkest of times, people found a way to make their own light. The story of a World War II Christmas is a lesson in resilience. By December 1940, during the Blitzmas, cities were under constant threat. Every home was a pocket of darkness, windows covered with thick curtains, cardboard, or even black paint. Striking a match near a window could bring a fine from an air raid precautions warden. Light was the enemy. On top of the darkness was scarcity. The government campaign, Make Do and Mend, wasn't just a slogan. It was how people survived. Rationing, which started in January 1940 with bacon, butter, and sugar, had expanded. Materials like metal and tin were needed for planes and munitions, not tinsel. Even Christmas trees were a luxury. So in a world of blackouts and shortages, how do you celebrate a holiday of light and abundance? You innovate. You look at a scrap of foil, an old can, or a bare branch, and you see potential. The hacks we're about to explore are born from this spirit. They're about turning almost nothing into something that shines. Let's peel back the blackout curtains and look at the real lighting hacks of the war. Number 1, Epsom salt frosting. Our first hack is one of the most iconic tricks of a wartime Christmas. The problem was simple. Homes were dim, and greenery like holly and evergreen looked somber indoors. People needed sparkles, but tinsel was scarce. The solution came from morale-boosting advice shared in government pamphlets and newspapers. A clever tip suggested a Christmassy sparkle is easy to add to sprigs of holly or evergreen. Dip your greenery in a strong solution of Epsom salts. When dry, it will be beautifully frosted. What made this trick so powerful wasn't just its simplicity. It was a piece of psychological warfare against the gloom. Epsom salt, or magnesium sulfate, was available at any chemist. Its crystals were perfect for mimicking frost. It caught whatever little light there was from the fireplace or a shielded lamp and refracted it, creating hundreds of tiny shimmering points of light. The method was deceptively simple. First, gather your materials: a few cups of Epsom salts, a bowl, warm water, and your greenery. Holly, ivy, or fir branches were authentic 1940s choices. Next, the process. You create the strong solution by dissolving about 1 cup of Epsom salts into 1 cup of warm water. Stir until the water is saturated. It's okay if some crystals are left at the bottom. Now, take a sprig of greenery and dip it into the solution, coating every leaf and surface. When you lift it out, it will be dripping. Hang it somewhere to air dry slowly, maybe on a clothesline like a wartime housewife would have. As the water evaporates, something incredible happens. The magnesium sulfate molecules form intricate needle-like crystals. Over several hours, the wet leaves develop a white crystalline crust. The final result is effective. Your plain branch looks like it's been touched by a winter frost. Each crystal acts like a tiny prism. Hold it near a single candle, and the branch comes alive with a delicate shimmer. It doesn't generate light, but it manipulates it. It was a way to bring the bright beauty of a winter morning indoors, a small act of defiance against the dark. Number 2, the phantom light bulb. Imagine unpacking pre-war Christmas decorations and finding your electric light strings. Useless. It was illegal to plug them in, and the bulbs were a reminder of a brighter time. But the make do and mend spirit meant nothing was truly useless. Our second hack turns a dead light bulb into a beacon of reflective hope. The problem was a lack of shiny ornaments. Traditional glass baubles, many imported from Germany, were gone. American companies like Corning began making them, but by 1941, the silver nitrate used for coating them was requisitioned for the war. The sparkle was gone. The solution was to take old, burned-out light bulbs and give them a new life. Instead of providing light, they would reflect it. To recreate this, you need an old incandescent light bulb and some paint. Silver paint is the most authentic choice, mimicking the coveted silvered ornaments of the pre-war era. Make sure the bulb is clean and dry. You can use a cardboard tube from a paper towel roll as a stand to hold it steady. Now, apply the paint. Use a small brush to put a thin, even coat of silver paint over the glass. The goal is a smooth, mirror-like surface designed to bounce light around a dark room. As you cover the glass, the object's function changes. It's no longer dead technology. It's becoming pure decoration. Let it dry completely, and maybe add a second coat for an opaque finish. To hang it, tie a loop of string or yarn tightly around the grooves of the metal screw base. The genius of this hack is in the reveal. Hang your painted bulb on the tree. Even in a dim room, it works. And the silver surface picks up the faintest glimmers of light and reflects them back as a soft gleam. It doesn't twinkle, but it shines. When you cluster several together, they create a constellation of soft highlights, filling the space electric lights once occupied with a quiet, resilient shimmer. What made this trick powerful was taking a symbol of the darkness, a burned-out bulb, and turning it into a defiant reflector of light. Number 3, tinsel from scraps and foil. Tinsel was essential for adding metallic sparkle to a tree. But during the war, the tin and aluminum used to make it were needed for the war effort. So how did families recreate that Christmas shimmer? They turned to scraps. The problem was making a bare tree look full, without manufactured decorations. The solution was twofold: using pre-war tinsel sparingly and making new tinsel from any reflective scraps available. This often meant salvaging the silver paper, or foil, from cigarette packs or candy wrappers. That foil was a precious resource. Let's recreate the salvaged foil garland. First, you need foil. You can use standard kitchen foil, but to get into the wartime mindset, be frugal. Cut the foil into long, thin strips, about a 1/2 inch wide and 6 to 12 inches long. You'll need a good pile of them. Now, you need a long piece of string for the backbone of your garland. Here's the beautifully simple process. Take one foil strip, place the center of it under the main string, bring both ends up and over the string, and twist them together 2 or 3 times, tight enough to be secure. The ends will stick out, creating a spiky, tinsel-like effect. Now, slide that piece down and repeat. Take another strip, place it next to the first, bring the ends up and twist. You continue this, bunching the twisted foil tightly together. The garland that takes shape is chunkier and more rustic than modern tinsel. It crackles softly as you work. The reveal is spectacular. You've created a thick, shimmering rope of pure sparkle. Each twisted strip has tiny facets that catch light from every angle. When you drape this on a tree, the effect is transformative. It's bold. It fills empty spaces with a riot of reflected light. In a dim wartime home, this garland was a treasure. It represents the core of the make do and mend philosophy. Taking something disposable and, through effort, turning it into the glittering heart of a Christmas celebration. Number 4. The newspaper paper chain. In a world of shortages, even colored paper was a luxury. Yet the desire for festive color and the need to keep children busy led to the return of a classic craft, the paper chain. The problem was volume. How do you make a room feel decorated with so few items? The solution was the paper chain, but made with old newspaper. Every household had it. Sometimes, children used watercolors to add color, but often the black and white text became the decoration itself. Making one today connects us to that time of limited resources. You will need newspapers, a ruler, a pencil, and an adhesive. For authenticity, use a simple flour and water paste. Just mix a few tablespoons of flour with water until it's a thick glue. A glue stick works too. Prepare your paper. Mark out strips about 1 inch wide and 8 or 9 inches long. Cut out a big pile of them. This was a craft that could keep a family busy for an evening. Now, construction. Take your first strip and form a loop, gluing the ends together. Thread a second strip through the first link, form a loop, and glue it shut. You simply continue, watching your chain grow. This was the perfect activity for listening to the wireless, or radio, together as a family. The reveal isn't a flash of sparkle, but a gradual transformation. A single chain could be strung across a mantelpiece. Several could be draped from the corners of the room, creating a canopy. They added bulk and visual texture to a sparse tree. What's remarkable is how effective the newsprint is. Up close, you might catch a word from a headline, a ghost of history in your living room. What made this hack so powerful was the poignancy. They were turning news of hardship and war into loops of celebration, literally reshaping the narrative of their daily lives. Number 5. A constellation of cardboard stars. The star is a symbol of hope and light. On a wartime tree, the traditional shiny star on top was often missing. Families turned to a common household scrap to create their own. Cardboard. The problem was finding a way to top the tree and add symbolic shapes to the decor. Stars were needed to add points of light. The solution was to make them by hand from cardboard boxes, combined with the prized silver foil we've already talked about. To recreate this, you need cardboard. A cereal box is perfect, a pencil, ruler, scissors, adhesive, and silver foil. First, create a star template. Draw a classic 5-pointed star, maybe 4 to 5 inches across, and cut it out. Trace your template onto the cardboard and cut out as many stars as you want. Next, the transformation. Take your silver foil, cut a piece slightly larger than your star, glue it on, and fold the excess neatly around the back. Smooth the foil down to remove any air bubbles. You want a sleek, reflective surface. To hang them, punch a small hole in one of the points. Thread a piece of string through and tie a loop. The reveal is where these simple creations come to life. Hang them on your tree. Unlike a round bauble, the star's flat surface acts like a targeted mirror. As it twists in the air, it catches the light from a candle or the fire and sends a sharp, brilliant flash into the room. A sudden wink of light. What made this trick so powerful was the effect. A dozen of these on a tree creates a mesmerizing, constantly shifting constellation of tiny flashes. They don't just gleam, they signal. For a family in the blackout, these little flashes were a reminder of the stars hidden from them outside. They were, quite literally, bringing starlight indoors. Number 6, the shimmering web of thread. One of the most creative hacks of the era involved something much more subtle than objects. It was the use of simple thread to create shimmering, almost invisible webs that caught the light in a unique way. The problem, again, was how to fill the space on a bare tree with almost no materials. The solution was in the sewing box. Cotton thread, especially white thread, was a staple in every home for mending clothes under the make, do, and mend ethos. By stretching this thread between the branches of the tree, people could create fine, intricate webs. Recreating this is an exercise in subtlety. The only materials you need are a spool of thin, white, or silver thread and a tree. The process is creative and random. Tie the end of your thread to a branch deep inside the tree. Then start to weave. Unspool the thread and guide it from one branch to another, wrapping it once to secure it, stretch it across the tree, down to a lower branch, then back up. You are drawing in the air with thread. Don't pull it too tight. Cross over your own lines to create a complex layered pattern. There's no finished point. You stop when you feel the tree has been transformed. What made this hack so magical was its subtlety. At first, you might not even see the web, but as you move, a line of thread will catch the light and shine with a brilliant intensity for a second, then vanish. Then another line will flash. The effect is an intricate dance of momentary sparks, making the tree feel like it's surrounded by a faint, shimmering aura. It filled the negative space not with bulk, but with the illusion of light, created from one of the most humble household items. Number 7. Reflective water bowls and mirrors. Our final hack is the ultimate trick for amplifying what little light existed. With only a fireplace or a few shielded lamps, rooms were incredibly dim. This hack doesn't create light. It multiplies it through the strategic use of reflective surfaces. The problem was simple. Not enough light. A single candle flame is a small thing in a dark room. The solution was basic physics. People have known for centuries that reflective surfaces bounce light. A family with only 1 or 2 precious candles could place one in front of a mirror to instantly double the light source. The mirror created a perfect reflection, throwing twice the soft, flickering light back into the room. An even more accessible version used simple bowls of water. A shallow bowl filled with water becomes a living mirror. Place a candle next to it, and the surface reflects the flame. But unlike a solid mirror, this reflection is alive, shimmering with every tiny vibration in the room. To set this up, place a mirror against a wall and a lit candle a few inches in front of it. The room is instantly brighter. For the water bowl method, take a shallow bowl, fill it almost to the brim with water, and let it become still. Place a floating candle on the surface, or a single candle in a holder right beside the bowl. The reveal is mesmerizing. The reflection of the flame in the water is softer than in a mirror, seeming to float in a dark, liquid sky. The gentle movement of the water makes the reflected flame tremble and sway, scattering light in soft patterns across the ceiling. This final hack embodies the wartime spirit. It's a direct, scientific approach to fighting darkness. What made it so powerful was its mindset. It acknowledged that light was precious, and the cleverest thing to do was not to create more, but to cherish and amplify what you already have. So there you have it. 7 forgotten methods for bringing sparkle to a Christmas shrouded in darkness. From frosted branches and painted light bulbs to foil tinsel and shimmering webs of thread. Each one is a small story of ingenuity and the make do and mend spirit. These hacks were more than just decoration. They were acts of rebellion against the gloom, a refusal to let the darkness outside extinguish the light within. In a time of hardship and fear, making a cardboard star shine was an act of hope. These wartime Christmases were not about abundance, but resourcefulness. Not bright lights, but clever sparkle. And there's a lesson in that for us. It reminds us that the true spirit of the holiday isn't in what we buy, but in what we create with our own hands. The darkness of the war eventually lifted. On VE Day, in May 1945, the blackouts officially ended. But the lessons learned in the dark, the creativity and resilience of the human spirit, those are things that continue to shine. I hope this journey back in time has inspired you. Which of these sparkle hacks was your favorite? Would you try the Epsom salt frosting or the newspaper paper chains? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this blend of history and hands-on creativity, please give this video a like. It helps the channel grow. And if you want more vintage inspiration and historical deep dives, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss what's next. Thank you for watching. Stay creative, stay curious, and find ways to make your own light.